That would help. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. It's early morning for a couple of our attendees, as we found out. Welcome everybody to this installment of the Agile Analysis Certification Chat. So I am Aaron Wittenberger. I am Vice President of Administration and Finance and a past president of the Bluegrass IIBA chapter. We are thrilled to have you all here. So I'm going to introduce our guest speaker here is Peter Lutz. He recently took our Agile Analysis Study Group, went out and got the certification. So he was successful on doing that. So congratulations, Peter. You're on mute there, Peter. But Peter's in Atlanta.
Sorry about that. Here I am.
There he is. Peter is actually in Atlanta, Georgia. He's been a chapter leader of a couple different chapters. I knew him when he was back in New Jersey. It was New Jersey, wasn't it? And
yes, I was on the board on the Garden State chapter, and then I moved to Atlanta.
Yeah.
And I'm active in that chapter, but I actually attend other events as well, and I've been an IIBA member for a number of years. Good to meet you all.
So we'll be happy to see you at our chapter events, Peter.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, your namesake is giving you applause in the chat. We have another Peter that's attending here, who's
great.
a very active member of our chapter in that. So, and I know he's out in Colorado. So, all right. With that, I will turn it over to Peter.
Great. Bear with me. I'm sometimes Zoom challenged. Let's see. Oh, here we go. No. All right. So I'll move down here. All right. Here's my agenda, folks, for this chat. I'm going to keep it very informal and just do a brief introduction. I think Aaron's already covered a large part of it. We'll talk about Agile analysis, what it is. Briefly talk about the Agile analysis certification knowledge domains, which are the main areas of the certification that are included in the test. I will give you my thoughts on how to best study and prepare, what worked for me, how I went about it. Next, I'll talk about some of the exam logistics, registration, taking of the exam, and then after you take the exam, the digital badge and the other things that go along with certification, and briefly talk about exams recertification requirements, and then open it up for some Q&A. So I'll move forward. That's me, in case you can't see me. I hold the Certified Scrum Product Owner certification, and now was very happy and pleased to earn the Agile Analysis certification in April. Benefited greatly from attending the Bluegrass chapter study group that Aaron provided or gave, and it was involved. I won't say it was a walk in the park, but it was time well spent, and I think solidified my knowledge of Agile and my knowledge of Agile as it pertains to business analysis. A little bit more about me. As Aaron said, I live in Atlanta. I most recently worked for Deloitte Consulting and currently am in transition looking for a new role as a senior or lead business analyst in the Atlanta metro area. So let's talk about what do I mean when I say Agile analysis? What is it? It's basically the application of Agile and Agile values and Agile mindset and the framework, and keeping in mind that we need to provide value to the business as business analysts and seek to deliver that value as rapidly as possible. And by that, I mean incrementally, keeping in mind that value is achieved through a set of practices, a mindset of values, and how you interact with the stakeholders to achieve that. Uh, Agile analysis is a studied discipline with a set of practices, processes, and procedures that allows you as a practitioner to create successful outcomes that have value and meaning for your business stakeholders. So what is the Agile analysis certification all about? It recognizes the integration and the application of business analysis with an Agile mindset. The Agile mindset is an outgrowth of the Agile Manifesto. You can look that up on Google if you want to, but basically it has several principles that speak to how to drive the creation of maximum value as quickly as possible to benefit your customer. This Agile analysis certification, it enables employers to see that you have competence and you've passed a rigorous examination about Agile analysis, and it covers a variety of several dimensions, I should say. We talk about the strategy horizon, where you're covering how and what you do to deliver value to the enterprise. The initiative, that typically comprises a program of work or a project, and then the actual implementation, which is covered in the delivery. And as Agile practitioners, we know that that's typically where we're talking about sprints and cadence of regular delivery of value to the business. The Agile Analysis certification also brings into focus the Business Analysis Core Competency Model, BACCM, which is covered in the Business Analysis Body of Knowledge, the BABAC. The certification handbook is the primary artifact that you will use to gain information and knowledge about Agile analysis and what's required or what's involved in the certification handbook. I believe that is available to you on the IIBA website. And you can download that if you have, I believe, if you have your IIBA membership. The exam, the Agile Analysis Certification exam is based 100% on the Agile extension to the BABAC. It's currently version 2. I know the BABAC is we're at version 3.0. This is the version 2 Agile extension to the BABAC guide. Covers the 4 knowledge areas that I mentioned earlier: the Agile mindset, the strategy horizon, the initiative horizon, and the delivery horizon. The exam, the certification exam, provides questions that are based on real-world scenarios and asks you, the BA, the Agile Business Analyst, to apply your knowledge from the Agile extension as pertains to those real-world scenarios. And the exam is divided up into those 4 areas. I've listed the coverage or the percentage of questions which are on the exam. There's 85 multiple choice questions that have to be completed within 2 hours, and that's the bulk. The bulk of the knowledge is in the Agile mindset. We've spoken about that, and then the 3 horizons that are included on the exam, and they're all mentioned in detail in the Agile extension textbook that I've pictured there on the slide. Certification exam preparation. I purchased the study cards. They also have from Watermark Learning, and they also have, Watermark also provides study tables, which have a distillation or summarization of the concepts that are specified in the Agile extension to the BABAC. Watermark products are very high quality. The study cards, I reference them in my preparation, but the bulk of my preparation was focused on the exam simulation. I took exams rigorously on a daily basis to prepare for the exam. Part of the certification study group will involve taking a practice exam at the very end of the study group. That was a valuable experience for me, and believe you can retake that as many times as you like. That for me was the jumping off point to studying signing up and getting the watermark exam. I believe you get it for a specified period of time, and you can take the study exam from watermark. You can take it all, or you can hone in on a specific area that you need to focus on any of those horizons that I mentioned. I wound up doing the individual horizons. I kept track of my score, how well I was doing, and then when I felt I had achieved a certain level of confidence and competence, I started into taking the entire practice exam. And the simulator times you, and in every way it's almost identical to the actual certification exam. So you are prepared in terms of the questions and the content of the material that's being tested when you take the simulator. I think when I got to the test day, you make an appointment to take the exam. The exam day, well, I'm probably getting a little bit ahead of myself here, but the exam day, I took my last full practice exam the morning of the exam, and I scored, I think, 90 or 92%. I believe passing score is 68 or 70, somewhere in there. I don't recall exactly. But I felt when I got the 90 or 92%, I knew I was ready. I can share another story about the exam day and some of the technical challenges I had, but can talk about that later. The exam day, when you make the appointment and you are taking the exam on the exam day, I can't stress enough how important it is to make sure that your environment is set up properly. You need to be in a home office where you have quiet, no distractions, and you need to be in an environment where you have a solid connection and perform a system test and ensure that it works. My challenge was my environment was in an area of my house that did not have good connectivity to the IIBA environment. It was an upstairs. Actually, I went into the bathroom because you can't have anything around you that will give the illusion that you're getting assistance in taking the exam. The exam is not is proctored by. There's an online proctor who watches you take the exam, and you need to verify or pass through certain verifications in order to prove that you're in an environment where you're not receiving any kind of outside assistance to take the exam. I wound up having to relocate to another area of my house and set up and take the exam. And it took a while to actually get into the exam once I was fully authenticated. So make sure you have the right environment, verify your connectivity to the secure site where the test is administered, and that you have nothing around that will serve as a distraction. I believe Aaron had cued us into the fact that you could not have if you have a water bottle, it has to be a clear see-through water bottle, and the exam proctor will verify all of that and will ask you to provide a webcam shot of your environment, so of all angles of your environment, to verify that you're not receiving any kind of other assistance. You can bring one piece of blank paper into the exam with you. I did not have any blank paper. I did not have any water bottle, but nonetheless, I had to prove to the proctor that my environment was completely sterile. When you actually start the exam and are taking the exam, I found having the strategy of spending 1 to 2 minutes on each question very valuable. Read the entire question, read every word in the question, and make sure you understand it. And if you do understand it and feel confident that you know the answer, then answer it. If you don't know or you're not sure, mark it for review, and then you can come back to it later. I did one pass through the exam, spending a minute or two on each question. Then I circled back and passed number 2, and I answered the questions that I had marked for review. Got to the end, and then I went back for one final pass, went through the exam, and I found that not changing any answers worked for me. If you change answers, you are likely going to change it to an incorrect answer. So try to avoid doing that as much as possible, because if you eliminated one or two of the multiple choice options, you may be going from a correct answer to an incorrect answer. So I would encourage you to avoid that if possible, unless you really have doubts about the answer that you previously gave. These are additional exam resources that I purchased. The IIBA Agile Analysis Certification Study Guide was very helpful to me, along with the Watermark Exam Simulator. The Agile Analysis Certification Exam Practice Questions and Dumps. I took those questions. They were a little bit different than the ones I had been accustomed to from the exam simulator, but I still found it a valuable resource to prepare. Once you've completed the exam, the proctor will tell you that you've completed the exam, and you will get the results immediately, indicating whether or not you successfully passed the exam. You will, I believe, be able to obtain a digital badge that you can put on your website or include with your email signature. Make sure that you update your email signature as I've done, to denote that you've achieved the Agile Analysis certification. And look online for other business analysts who have the AAC certification, and you can network with them. And then begin thinking about planning for recertification. I believe the certification is only good for a year, and you need to figure out how you're going to get continuing education units in order to do that. I still have to do that myself. So I'll pause here to see if there's any questions, and if there's any additional information that you would like clarification on, or if Aaron has any comments.
Just one comment, Peter. You earned 10 CDUs today.
Wow. Cool. Thank you.
That's half of them. So yeah, the recertification for this is every year, and you need 20 CDUs to renew each year. So it's the CBAP is every 3 years, and you have to have 60. So, it's at least it's not 60. It does require 20. And for IIBA members, it's $30 a year to recertify it.
It's a worthwhile exam. It's just it's not a walk in the park. It does require dedication, and the challenge for me also was that I was studying for a safe scaled agile safe 6.0 certification at the same time. But I determined that since I had started studying for the Agile Analysis certification prior to starting my studies for SAFE, I decided to focus on the IIBA Agile Analysis certification, and that was good for me. It worked for me because I was able to pass it.
You have a question in the chat. So IIBA had a minimum employment requirement last time for recertification. Is that still true?
I am not sure about that.
Yeah, for recertification, they don't ask about employment.
Yeah.
And I'm not aware that they've ever had it for recertification. You just need CDUs, which is continuing development units is what it stands for, but it's continuing education. So attending webinars, you'll earn, either a half or one CDU for being here today. Um, attending any webinar, any chapter meeting can get you CDUs for recertification.
I believe the website, IIBA website also has information, all the information you need regarding recertification and what the requirements are. And I think part of your employment also may include may go toward recertification. Double check that though. But
Yeah,
definitely, if you attend webinars here or help the chapter out in any way, that would satisfy the requirement.
yeah. So yes, you are correct that employment, your work experience does earn you CDUs, and that so there's like 6 categories you can earn CDUs in, and that so Peter will get CDUs for presenting today, and that
You said 10, Aaron?
yep, you actually get 10 because here you really presented alone, even though I'm here. You presented the content of this thing. As if you're part of a panel discussion, then you get 5, but if you present alone, then you get 10. So, and that is in a different category than webinars and chapter meetings and such. If you volunteer in chapter leadership, that earns you CDUs. To be eligible for the exam, you'll need to have at least 8 months of Agile project experience in the last 3 years, and 21 went away. And 21 hours of training in Agile, among other factors. Is this still true? This exam or this certification is targeted for people that have 2.5 to 3 years of Agile experience, but that is not asked in the application. So it is a desire, but not a requirement. So you could actually get this with absolutely no Agile experience at all. And that I will have to look at the training. I don't remember if there was
the question is about safe training if it counts. I believe it should, but double check that.
Yeah, it actually should. Anything that says that their IIBA endorsed training course would absolutely qualify in that. It does have to have an Agile aspect to the training. Certainly SAFE does have an Agile aspect to it. And that, so that should qualify, yes.
How similar were the sample questions on the IIBA website to the actual exam? I sit for the, scrolled away. I sit for the AAC exam next week, and I have not done any other practice exams, but I breezed through the questions. I honestly don't recall the sample questions on the IIBA website. I would say the questions on the exam, the mock exam that you take in the study group, were very similar, and the questions on watermark learning, I realize your exam is next week, but the questions on the watermark exam simulator are very similar. But quite frankly, some of the questions on the actual AAC exam were more difficult and challenging, in my opinion, than on practice exams. So you really do have to know the information very well. And
Okay.
as I said earlier, read the question very, very carefully. Some of those questions are tricky. If there's a word not in there or some other qualifier, it will change the answer that IIBA is looking for. So you need to read the question at least twice in order to be clear on what's being asked.
Yeah, and as part of our study group, we do give exam experience, and that's one of the big ones. And I know for me personally, I have a fault of not just passing right over the word not in a sentence. And I remember being a contractor in at a client. I was working with a BA, and he asked me to schedule a meeting with a vendor for tomorrow. And the only time he was not available was from 2 to 3 p.m. Guess when I scheduled that meeting? And he was at my desk like in 5 seconds going, "What are you doing?" uh, so yeah, just skipped right over the word not, so I scheduled it for 2 p.m. and it kind of upset him a bit. And that, so I recognize that as a fault that I have. Certainly read every word of every question, read every word of the 4 answer options. Also read all 4 of the
Yep.
answer options. Don't just read the question and then A and then B. Oh, it's B. No, it was C, but you didn't go that far. So make sure you do read it all, then answer the question.
In some of the questions, the one answer will be blatantly wrong, and you can scratch that out right away. The next one will be maybe. The next one, yeah, it's possible, but you need to pick the answer that's most correct, because
Yeah.
they're some of the options could be both correct, but pick the one that is most correct, because that's what they're looking for.
Back to Jennifer's question. I don't believe that the sample questions, there's like 10 of them on the IIBA website, are anything near what is really on the exam in that. I don't think they're really representative. Jennifer, for you, since you already have your exam scheduled, you're going to sit for it next week. I'm going to send you a link to our practice exam. And our practice exam is a whole lot closer to the real exam. We had a panel of Agile analyst certified people make up our exam question bank. So we made it as close as possible to the real one. It's got 85 questions. It uses the same percentage, the same blueprint, same percentage of questions in each domain. So you will find it very much like the actual one. Peter mentioned the Watermark Learning Practice test site. They have a platform there that is very good. I do recommend it. You buy a 30-day, 60-day, 90-day subscription to it. I don't have the prices for their AAC one, but if you want to take, and this would be a good week, take as many practice exam as you can, prepare for that one. So it'd be a good time to really purchase that, and if you can, and take as many drills, as many exam simulations as you can. But I will send you ours. You can take that, and it should give you a really good indication of how close ready you are to take the actual exam.
Aaron,
Right?
Peter has a question about 2 years. He has 2 years of Agile experience, but it was over 10 years ago. How much has changed in Agile in recent years? I don't believe that Agile per se, the Agile manifesto, has changed. And I certainly don't know of any versions with respect to the manifesto or Agile concepts. So my guess is that the answer is it shouldn't be, there shouldn't be an issue there. Do you have any thoughts there?
Um, of course, things change over time. 10 years is a long time in that. There has been an update to the Scrum Guide, and I think the latest one that came out in 2020. So things have changed. The overall framework of Agile really has not. I don't think that there's been an update to the Agile Manifesto since it was created in 2001. Not a lot has changed, but I believe, certainly some things could have changed, like Peter said, the Agile extension to the iiba-aac guide is in version 2. So, it has changed.
Focus on that. That's your Bible. That's your primary source. Anything that's in that is everything in that is going to be on the exam. Any other artifact or source is nice or valuable, but you should rely upon the material that's in the Agile extension to the iiba-aac as the primary source for your test taking and preparation.
Absolutely. The whole exam is from that. So there's no substitution for actually knowing the content that you're going to be tested on. So you must have a copy of that. If you're an IIBA member, you can download a PDF version of it for free from the IIBA website. A couple slides back, Peter shared a Agile Analysis Certification Study Guide. On there, it's from Business Analysis Knowledge Academy. We use that in our study group. So if you're going to join our study group, you do not have to purchase that book. We have it built into the pricing of our study group, the one on the left there. We will purchase that for you and send it directly to you if you join our study group. So I did put in a couple of times a little while ago. Our upcoming study group starts in a couple of weeks. It's on Tuesday evenings, 6 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Starts the 22nd of August, goes through the 19th of September. And I also put in there, since you took the time to be here today, thank you very much. Glad you're showing some interest in this certification. And if you join that study group, we'll give you a discount for taking the time to be here and engage with us today in that. So I put a registration discount code in the chat that you could use one of the two registrations that attended the certification chat. Then you enter that registration code, and that'll give you the discount on that. Linda, yes, Scrum certs and education units. So it's I know in the Agile or the Scrum Alliance one, I have the CSPO. I believe you have that too, Peter.
Yes.
From Scrum Alliance, you need SEU, Scrum Education Units. That's what they call it, SEUs. They absolutely will qualify. I use, one event, and it goes for both my CSPO and my AAC. So yes, absolutely. You can attend one webinar in that or do one activity, and it would qualify for both of your certifications.
Peter has a question about CEU credits for recertification to be used on more. Can they be used on more than one IIBA certification? I believe the answer is yes. Can you confirm that, Aaron?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Do you know if CEU credits, it's in the Q&A, Peter's asking, do you know if CEU credits for recertification can be used on more than one IIBA certification?
Yes. So anything that would go for the AAC would work for the CBAP or the CCBA as well. So yes, absolutely. And I do that as well. I'm CBAP, and I attend one event. We got our one coming up in 2 weeks, our chapter meeting. We're having a podcast style where we're featuring my manager, actually, Tracy Ongst, who leads the Enterprise Agile Services and our BA Center of Excellence in our company. And she's going to talk about the Agile Business Analyst role, that we're kind of contrasting the idea there that there's only 3 roles in Agile, that you have to either become a Scrum Master or a product owner to work in Agile. My impression or my opinion on that is no, there is a role for business analysts. And I work on that delivery team that delivery team is not all developers. You know, we have testers, architects, business analysts, and developers on that delivery team. So that's our talk. It's on Wednesday in 2 weeks. Go to bluegrass.iiba.org and you'll see the event there. You can register. All our events, all our chapter meetings are hybrid. So we do have groups that are meeting in 3 cities in Kentucky, and we have remote. We will always have remote attendance option to all our events. Our virtual or our study group coming up is completely virtual. So that one is, just a virtual option there.
Jennifer had a question, Aaron. IIBA also has the product ownership and analysis online materials in the IIBA website. Does that material count for any CDUs for renewing the certification? I'm not sure I follow her question.
I would say yes. Put it under self-learning. That's where you do your self-directed learning. Reading a book, certainly qualifies for that. So I've got a couple really good Agile business analyst books. One was written by Ryland Layton that I have read in that. That all kind of stuff goes under self-directed learning and that. So I would think that anytime that you use that product ownership analysis materials, put it there under self-directed learning.
Aaron has a new book out about the rock crushing, along with 2 other people, by the way. Product backlog.
Yeah, he was author on that. So if you got his new book and that, so Shane Hasty and Stephen, what's his name? But there were 3 authors called The Rock Crusher. And it's talking about how to really organize your product backlog. So
he moved from he's in Dallas now also. He's no longer in Atlanta. So loss for our chapter in Atlanta. And a gain for Dallas.
Okay. So any other questions or anything? Like I said, our certification study group is coming up really soon. Starts in a couple weeks. Our early bird for that ends next Friday, and so does that discount that I put in the chat, and that's good till the 11th. So get registered this week or next week if you want to take advantage of that. We have a very structured way. So if structured learning with other students, and that if that works for you, it works for me. It worked for Peter.
Yes.
If you like those classes and that, you'll find this very useful. So we have homework that we hand out and expect you to return. That helps you earn your professional development hours to get the certification. And that, one of IIBA's requirements is interaction with the speaker and the other students in the class, opportunity to demonstrate the learning. And that's where our homework and the practice exam. So the last session of our study group is the practice exam, in which we give you an actual practice exam of 85 questions, just like the real exam. Use the same blueprint as the real exam. We made this as close to the real exam as we possibly could. All right. Any other questions? We're taking, okay. I put that in the chat. So take that stuff out of the chat. If you want to be involved in that, if you want to get this certification, our study group is a good way to prepare for it. And we've had a lot of success out of it. And Peter's just one example of that.
I can't say enough good things about Aaron and the study group and how it benefited me in terms of preparation. And he made it very fun and easy to take the test. And I had confidence, but I needed more. That's why and more prep. So use this study group as the foundation for your learning and for your preparation for the exam. You won't be sorry.
I am not seeing any other questions in the chat. I did put our chapter website link in the chat. Go and check us out. You'll see the study group scroll about 2/3 the way down under the video for about Lexington. And you'll see our chapter meetings and webinars first, and then our professional development events. And under professional development events is our study group that is coming up. So you just click on that and register. If you're an IIBA member, there's a registration level for you as IIBA member who attended the certification chat. If you are not, there is a guest who attended the certification chat. You could use one of those two levels to register. Use that discount code I gave you in the chat and get registered. So when we do ask you to register early because we are sending you a book, give it time, for that book to get to you. So, and if you're not in the United States, we'll give you online access to that book. So we don't ship internationally. That would be a nightmare. And of course, I have no idea what shipping costs would be to get it to Australia or who else we have here, Canada. So we do have online access to make sure that you still get the full experience of the study group. Not seeing any more. Tomorrow you will receive a follow-up email that'll have a link to this recording. And it'll have at least that on it. And if I may, Peter, share the slide deck with
Absolutely.
everybody. Okay.
Of course.
So we'll have a link to the slide deck that Peter shared as well. Thank you all for your time. Thank you for being here. You earned 1 CDU for being here today.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Good to meet you all.
You have a great rest of your day and a wonderful weekend.
Bye.